there, and welcome to an introduction to human design. My name is Zsuzsi, and I'm so excited to share this information with you, mostly because it has had a profound impact on my life. Not only because I learned about my own design, but because I learned about the designs of all of the people around me and was able to see dynamics that I never really had language for. So I actually met this information in 2018. I met my teacher when I was working in a health and wellness space in New York City. And I immediately fell in love with this information after my first reading and started very intensely studying the system. In 2020, I established a learning platform that was designed to help make this information more accessible to people. And that is what I continue to be extremely passionate about because, like I said, this is so valuable and I feel that it should be available to everyone who is interested in learning about it. So today I'm going to take you through a very brief but in-depth explanation of where human design came from, and we're going to talk about the 4 aura types, which is the basis of all of human design knowledge. This is a way for you to grab your chart and follow along if you wish, so that you can start to understand your aura dynamics and the way that you meet the least amount of resistance on this physical plane. So let's get started. So the first question I normally get asked is, where did human design come from? Well, it has kind of a mystical origin story. This man is named Ra Uruhu, and he was living on the island of Ibiza in the year 1987 when he had an 8-day experience that he chronicled actually in a documentary called Encounter with a Voice, which is free to view on YouTube. And he describes this 8-day experience not necessarily as a downloading of information, but as a process of information being placed inside of him. And once he had this information, because he was not really taught how to teach it, it took him a number of years to really put it all down, make it so that it was digestible for people to understand. And his first public lecture was in 1992 in Taos, New Mexico. In 1999 is when my teacher met him in Taos and became a student of his until he passed away in 2011. And in the time that he was alive and teaching this information, he certified a number of students who have been disseminating this information, but it really seemed to take off in the year 2020 when, through social media and the internet, this became a lot more accessible to people, and people were getting very, very excited about it, understandably. So what he really understood from this encounter with the voice were 2 main things. First is that in 1781, the consciousness of the planet mutated, and we went from being 7-centered beings to being 9-centered beings. You can see this image of the 7 chakras and how it mutated into these 9 energy centers that we see in what we call the human design body graph. And the difference between the 7-centered beings and the now 9-centered beings is that we are a lot more sensitive and emotional, and we are a lot more aware than our predecessors. And that is why human design was sent here from the cosmos, so that we can start to understand that the old systems and the old ways that we are still trying to use to live our lives may not necessarily apply to us any longer. The second most important thing to understand is that human design is a synthesis of a lot of different esoteric and scientific systems. And as a synthesis, none of the original modalities are in their complete original form. Human design is a combination of the Chinese I Ching, the chakra system, the Kabbalah, tree of life, astrology, genetic mapping, and astrophysics through the neutrino stream. So you can see that there's a blend of all of these different things. And through the date, time, and place of birth, the system calculates what areas of your chart are defined and what areas of your chart are opened through this body graph system. And as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the fundamental aspects of human design, the thing that we always go back to, which is aura mechanics. The aura mechanics is how you are designed to operate, and each aura has a strategic recommendation for how to meet the least amount of resistance in life. And we're going to start with the generator aura type, or the manifesting generator, which is a subtype of generator, but they both have the same recommendation, the same strategy of waiting to respond. And this aura type is the most populous, being 70% of the population, myself included. I'm a manifesting generator. And the quality of the generator aura type is open and enveloping. The generator aura type is designed to be magnetic and pull things into our field. You can see these arrows magnetizing things to this auric field. And we are designed to respond to life as it comes at us instead of trying to initiate our energy. Because as the generator aura type would suggest, we are like batteries. We are here to run out our energy systems and release energy over the course of the day so that we can pass out, get good sleep, recharge, and do it all over again. We just keep going and going like little Energizer bunnies. And the reason why human design is so valuable for the generator aura type is because when we try to initiate our energy, when we're not in response with our energy, we meet resistance and we experience our not self theme, which is frustration. And when we are moving towards things that we are responding to, that light us up, when we are releasing energy in a way that feels good, we can experience satisfaction, which is the generator signature. So it's not about trying to avoid frustration altogether. It's about measuring whether something is predominantly frustrating or is it predominantly satisfying. These are the two things between which generators oscillate. And if you think about 70% of the population, the dominant force in the world, you can see that there is a lot of frustration out there. So human design is here to potentially reduce the level of frustration just out there generally in the world. And that is where the next aura type comes in, the projector aura type, which is about 20% of the population. There are about 3 generators to every projector aura type. And the suggested strategy for the projector is to wait for the invitation. And this gets misconstrued a lot. Projectors come to me all the time saying that this feels really disempowering. What do you mean I have to wait for an invitation? Well, as a projector, you don't have to wait for an invitation to do the things that you love to do. However, when it comes to interacting with other types, it's important to understand that the projector aura is focused and absorbing. A projector is designed to focus in on another individual, kind of scan them, absorb their auric field. And this is a way for them to understand what they need and how they can best guide them, because projectors are designed to be guides for others. But the caveat is to wait for that invitation. Otherwise, that's when the projector meets that resistance and has the potential to experience their not self theme, which is bitterness. But when a projector is invited and recognized for their skill of guidance, they can really shine and they can experience their signature, which is success. And the way that they really experience success is by alleviating that frustration for the majority of the population, which is the generators, who have all of this energy, and projectors see that energy and know how to direct it. And the best way, according to human design, to help with that guidance mechanic is to ask generators yes and no questions to be able to really get to their own truth about what is correct for them and what would alleviate that frustration. So right there, you can see we're talking about 90% of the population, and the cooperation between this 90% is what could create a lot more flow and a lot less resistance for both of these aura types. But then here comes the manifestors, and this is a totally different type of aura. The manifestor recommendation strategy is to inform others of what they're going to do. This is about 9% of the population, so not a whole lot of folks at all. And they have what is called a closed and repelling aura. Now, this gets misconstrued a little bit too, because closed and repelling sounds like it's about keeping people out, but really it's a protective mechanism for the manifestor whose aura is extremely impactful. And the strategy to inform others is really so that there's no resistance and the manifestor can do what it is that they came here to do. They are here to initiate whatever it is that they want into the world, manifest it, if you will. And the resistance they meet from others is when they don't inform and what they do impacts those around them in a way that they weren't expecting. And that is when the manifestor experiences their not self theme, which is anger. They are meant to feel peace. That is their signature. And so when they inform, they can feel that flow and that ease of creating and doing exactly what they need to do in order to live out their own roles. And they can enroll people into their missions and have them help build whatever it is that they want. But for the most part, these are very independent auras. And it's not to say at all that having a closed and repelling aura means that they aren't warm and kind and loving. It's more that sometimes it feels a little bit harder to reach them because the generators and the projectors are used to having these open, interactive auras, whereas the manifestor aura is not like that. And similarly, the reflector aura type, the last 1% of the population, is similar in the sense that this is also a closed aura. The reflector strategy is to wait a 28-day lunar cycle in order to make any major decisions. And their aura is sampling and resistant because the reflector is here to really take little bites and little samples of other people's auras, but it's not to really get caught up in the community and the collective and all those things. They are here to reflect back to us what they see is going on in these larger areas and these larger groups. And their reflection is usually a neutral thing. They are not attached to what's going on. It's more that they are reflecting back to us what it is that they see. And to them, it's neither good or bad. But what they're really looking for is people who are living according to their design, who are experiencing their signatures of satisfaction, success, and peace. And that brings them their signature, which is surprise. When a reflector is in a community or in a space where they're sampling all this frustration and bitterness and anger, they experience a lot of disappointment. So if you ever meet a reflector, you can tell right away by, what they're talking about and what it is that they're interested in and how they're expressing themselves, whether or not they're in an environment that feels nurturing and supportive of them, or if they feel shut down and disappointed by their environment. And this is also a way for all of us as a collective to see where we're at. How are the reflectors responding to the way that they are experiencing the world? They're like the canary in the coal mine, and no two reflectors are the same. So they're very individualistic people, and tend to have a lot of different types of friend groups so they can sample a lot of different types of people and auras. So this is the conclusion of the introduction to aura type. There's a lot more to understand about human design, but this is where we always come back to. No matter how deep you go into this system, no matter how much you've already learned about yourself through human design, if you feel stuck or if you feel unsure of which way to go, we always say, go home to your strategy. Wait to respond, wait for the invitation, inform, or wait a 28-day lunar cycle. I really appreciate the time and the energy that you have spent absorbing this information. If there's anything else that I can help you to understand about yourself and your chart, please feel free to get in touch with me. hello@hdbyz.com. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to look up your chart or the chart of anybody that you know, please feel free to download a free one from my website. The link will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, and ciao for now.